This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting, proudly sponsored by Empire Fight Store. I'm joined by Mams Taylor in his hotel room today. Mams, it's good to see you again, mate. How you been?
I'm seeing you more than I'm seeing my parents this trip.
That shows I'm a good reporter, consistent.
You are. You're really on it. If I'm like, just hit me sometime tomorrow, 9 a.m., bang, on the dot. What time? You're like persistent, but you have to be. So I respect it.
It could be considered annoying, so you've got to be careful when you message them and not to over-message people.
That's something on the come up that you have to be very conscious of. Actually, not just on the come up, because there's always people in more senior positions than you in the world, or more influential positions and bigger positions of power, and it's just an energy thing. You have to vibe it and see, okay, they get if I push any more, they're going to start getting annoyed, you know. Not with me. I'm pretty chill with you, and you're my mate at this point, you know. But I'm saying that it's the same for everyone. Like, so I can understand. But when you're on the come up and you're trying to hit up people for interviews, it must be challenging to not over push, you know. And then you lose them if you're too pushy. So yeah, you're right.
I think I might have made a few mistakes doing that at the very start, but I'll be doing it from September. I'll be doing it for 2 years, so now I kind of know there's a fine line you cross and there's a fine line you don't cross. I kind of know the barrier now, so it's all right. But what else have you been up to? I heard you've been playing a little bit of tennis. I said that way too fast. I heard you've been playing a little bit of tennis.
I played some tennis, yeah. That was fun. I won today.
Did you not win the other day?
No, the person I played beat me 6-4, and then I played them again and won 6-4 today. So I was excited about that. Is this, do you want to know anything more about bears? I feel like I should give you one bear fact every time we speak.
Well, we had a whole conversation in the last interview about bears. Obviously, no one will ever see that interview.
Why?
Because you're basically...
What have you got against bears, man?
No, basically the audio, I used a different cable, and then the audio is really weird, where some people could hear it, and some people couldn't hear it, so it's really, really frustrating. But you were saying you want to have a bear sanctuary, and I was saying, if you ever do that, then I'll come and visit you in your bear sanctuary.
Would you?
I
Would
would.
you feel comfortable around grizzlies?
That'd be great content.
It might be great content with your head in their mouth too.
That would be a good way to go out. I don't want to. If I was to die, I wouldn't want to die like a normal death in bed. We would die like a badass death.
God willing, we both die in our sleep when we're 100 years old. That's the way to go. Okay. You don't want people to be like, do you know that kid Fred Beck, who was amazing, who was so nice? He just got eaten by a bear. People will make a meme of that, and they're just so vicious. They will. They're just gonna like literally rip the piss that we got eaten by our own bears.
Yeah, like Revenant.
Yeah. Well, he didn't die.
You've seen Revenant?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know. I don't rate that movie. I think DiCaprio did. It's a good movie, but it's not like his best performance. I think he should have won Oscars for a lot better movies that he was in. But that scene was sick.
Which film did you win Oscars for? Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street.
That 100%. I love that film.
So good. That scene with him and what's the...
Margot Robbie.
No, the fat kid.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, that was sick.
Wait,
like
they
when they were on Quaaludes and high out of their heads and just crawling around. That was hilarious. I like that.
Have there been any moments in your life which have been similar to Wolf of Wall Street at any time? That's a good question.
That's a good question, because it's actually, there have been many moments that have been very similar to certain aspects of that movie. Yeah, but let's move on.
Okay. In the book, would you ever write a book? Because then you can write about everything.
Yeah, I think I could write a book about the fucking Misfits event. Like, honestly, the roller coasters and even the night of the event, thank God everything went well to the outside looking in, but there's so many things that I learned that we can grow from the space we're in. And I think we put on a great show. By almost all accounts, it was possibly the best crossover event for boxing that we've had. You know, and I was really happy to hear that and see that was the general consensus on the whole. A few things... You know, at the end of the day, I wish that guy just fucking let his hands go a bit, you know?
You're talking about the Mexican fighter.
Yeah, but he was, like, amped, man. And his coaches were, like, motivating him. And after he saw Swarms against KSI, he was like, I'm going to win this fight, in Spanish. I had to, one of his coaches was telling me he's very confident. And I was, like, a bit like, oh, shit. Like, not nervous. I knew JJ would win, but... I didn't know what he's going to bring for a guy who's had 50 plus amateur fights and 7 pros. I was thinking, how did he win those 2 fights? I didn't know what to expect, and I'd seen tape of him, and I was like, okay, he can hang in there and he'll throw. But his coach told me afterwards that he got hit so hard with a kidney shot early on. The first punch, I think, actually, that JJ landed, and he was just super gun-shy after that. So he didn't, I guess he was hesitant to throw, because every time he threw, JJ would just counter and go in aggressively on him. And
So that's the first time in boxing, I guess, where JJ, if he didn't throw that shot, it might have been a better fight.
I don't know, because soon after he threw another shot that hurt him, and he kept complaining about the back of the head, and he was turning his head, which would leave him susceptible to shots to the back of the head. But he, look, what can I say? I mean, respect to him to get in the ring, but it would have been cooler if, like, he was a bit more aggressive, you know. But at the same time, I was really happy when both of those victories happened, and they were big moments. Another moment for me was when Deji and JJ hugged in the ring. I just got the hell out the way and was just like very touched by it. You know, like they've had a roller coaster of a journey, and it's beautiful to see that they really love each other, and I think they really they had a magical moment there. That was the most magical moment of the night for me when they gave each other a big hug.
When Deji won, that's probably my favourite moment of the night. When Deji won, that was sick.
Yeah, that was a beautiful moment. I also feel for Fousey because he's a really nice guy, and he trained really hard, and you know, he's a warrior. He stayed in there. You know, boxing might not be his thing, but he tried his hardest, and he went in there with the belief that he was going to win, and he wasn't giving up, and I respect him a lot for that. Obviously, Deji trained hard, and the first punch I saw Deji throw, I said to the person next to me, I said, Deji's not here to fight. Deji's here to win. And I'd never seen that version of Deji until that night. So I'd welcome that version back with open arms and hope he carries on and redeems his losses, which I think he did with one fight, but I think he's going to carry on doing that. You know, because he's pretty good, and he impressed me a lot, to be honest. Yeah, really good.
I think since he lost so many times and he still carried on, and now he's won. If he wins, now he's won. I think definitely he's going to carry on. But when do you think we're going to see Deji out again? Will be on Ksi'S undercard?
We're working on some things that are going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, look, put it this way: you guys have a big year ahead in 2023 in crossover boxing. We've got some massive plans, so it's just gonna be.
You promised me there'd be 8 fights until the end of 20. Sorry, not 8 fights. Sorry, 8 cards, 8 shows, 8 events until the end of 2023. Do you still stand by that?
I think there'll be more.
Oh wow, already?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and more.
I said 8 fights, 8 fight cards from now until
the end of 2023.
No, till next a year from now. So we're planning on doing 8 a year, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and we're only like just in the second half of the year right now. So we've got 2 cards on this side of the year, and then we'll have another 8 next year. So 10 till the end of the year is probably what I estimate. You know.
Yeah, for me, that's great. So, the KSI announced that him and Logan will be boxing on the same card. Would you know when that will be?
I do. I will announce it when it's time to announce, but I think everyone's let the cat out the bag that it's going to be in January sometime, so it's going to be a massive card. I anticipate that'll be the biggest crossover boxing card that we've had to date.
Really? So, I don't think you can say ever. Okay, so you had to date, because I guess KSI Jake will be obviously probably the biggest, or hopefully it won't be the biggest. Hopefully you top it every other event.
It's going to be hard to top until we have a rivalry that tops that rivalry. You know, can you think of any rivalry as intense and as genuine and as authentic as that rivalry, where there's legitimate disdain for one another? When I spend time with, if I'm like in around older people, I just tend to be a little bit less boisterous, more respectful, more. You know, so the environment you're in kind of dictates what side of your personality comes out.
I guess so. If you're at a funeral, you're more respectful. If you're at someone's 50th birthday party, you'll be quite loud and dancing. It's like that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just depends. different people act differently in different situations. I've seen every single episode of The Simpsons, and that's something I've always, don't know, ever since it came out, and I think it was 89, I just loved The Simpsons. And there's very few programs that make me laugh out loud. Simpsons, American Dad, Family Guy, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and anything to do with Sacha Baron Cohen, pretty much, or Ricky Gervais. That's quite a lot of things that make me laugh. Actually, JJ's Try Not to Laugh videos sometimes get me in stitches.
Do you watch JJ? Or do you watch all his videos? Have you ever managed anyone where you don't enjoy all their content or you don't enjoy their music, and it's more of a chore to sit through it, even though they're very talented?
In the early days, but I wouldn't take on a client unless I believed in them fully. I don't care how much money it's going to bring in. If I don't believe in someone, and if I don't think that we're going to get along, nothing is worth my peace of mind. And I don't want to disrupt anyone else's peace of mind either. You know, like, my whole thing is, like, I like things to flow naturally, and that means it's meant to be happening. Doesn't mean you shouldn't work hard, but you should work hard as a team to take on the obstacles that are coming your way, that the universe throws your way. You overcome them as a team. But if you're not getting along and and it's natural to have arguments with people you love and people who are your clients, your friends, your family. But if there's more of that than the peace and the smoothness, then that's an issue. And it's like, stress is not something that we already live in a stressful, or we function in a stressful environment in the entertainment business. And I've learned after many years to not be stressed out by stressful environments. And I've got that level of peace. But if there's someone making you uncomfortable on a daily basis, being a diva or being unreasonable and just talking your ear off and taking your time and saturating your energy, it's not worth it. There's nothing that's worth money. All money is not good money. And that's why there are clients that I turned down that would have brought big money. But I just didn't like... It's not that I didn't like them. I didn't like the way they presented themselves or the way they dealt with their issues.
Okay.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you mean, because you want to, at the end of the day, you want to enjoy what you do. You want to enjoy the people that you work with, and I guess that's fair enough. But my phone fell down, so I wrote a few notes down for this interview. Right. I don't normally do many notes. I think we'll start at the top. Actually, I want to start with this. Nardwuar, one of the best interviews of all time, and you haven't heard of Nardwuar.
Nardwuar is excellent.
You have heard of Nardwuar?
Yeah. Nardwuar is a really good interview. His technique is sublime. He's extremely knowledgeable, does his research, and has an extensive vocabulary and utilizes it well. I don't know who Nardwuar is.
Oh, you don't? You really don't know who Nardwuar is? Nardwuar. All right. I can cut this if it goes on too long. You must have seen Nardwuar.
What, is he in the boxing space?
No, he just does like celebrity interviews, and he always finds out facts that they have no idea about. Yeah, you no way. You must have heard of Nardwuar, man. You've probably seen him somewhere.
What? He's never interviewed any of my guys.
Who are you? Man, I be that pretty motherfucker, man. ASAP? Yes, sir. Rocky? Yes, sir. My name is Usher Richard.
He always starts off, "Who are you?"
Is your mom half Canadian? Yeah, her. What the fuck? How you know this shit? Yeah, my mom's mixed. Oh, shit.
I love him.
What the fuck?
Tyler Creator.
I've seen him.
You have seen Nardwuar.
Yeah, I've seen him online. He doesn't have a TV show or something, right?
He does YouTube, I believe. Yeah, you never met him in life.
Does he want to fight?
I don't think so. He's a bit old to fight. He could do the post for interviews. He looks old.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't mean disrespectful to Nardwuar. I'm guessing he's around 40, 50.
What the fuck? 40's not old.
Yeah, because your mum's you're 40, aren't you?
I'm 43. And then you get called a 50-year-old man on Twitter every day. It's like, I'm not 50, I swear.
Oh, that's funny, actually. That's one of those genuine moments. Let's talk about Joe Weller. After the show went off, I went away to the car park to do a post-fight interview of you and Joe Weller. And Joe Weller didn't show.
He didn't show. And I was at that car park, and for days, I was freezing my balls off.
I had my videographer there, cameraman. We had a toilet there, rooms there. He never showed.
He was never going to show to the car park. But look, I think people are like, why don't you take him off the show, this, that, and the other. Actually, I think it was quite good for the show. And I'm a businessman. I won't. I have principles, which if someone crosses my principles, then that's different. But I'm not that egotistical that just because he calls me a bunch of names and acts up and tries to start with KSI and this and that, if he's gonna make a fool of himself, that's on him. And it actually, to me, it created more storylines around everything going on. So I was like, cool. In reality, I don't think he was really up for fighting anyone. And the other part of it is the only thing that was disrespectful was when he tweeted something that was not an accurate representation. You were there. It was packed. We had some...
What was the tweet, just so they know?
Joella put a tweet up of the venue kind of half empty, and that was... I believe it was taken before people were sat down. Because there was no point in that night that I didn't see the whole place completely packed. And we've obviously sold out, so all the seats were gone.
And it was sold out at, like 5 o'clock as well. And the O2 is never sold out at 5 o'clock.
I think it's the first time where a boxing event or any combat sports event has been was at capacity and everyone's seated from start to finish. I don't think I remember that happening for anything else.
No, I don't either. And it was a big stadium or a big arena, 22,000 as well. It's not like a small stadium like the Copper Box. It's a massive arena.
It's a massive arena, and we're the first combat sports event that sold out the O2 in 3 years. And then Chris Eubank and Ben came along and did the same thing as well, which that's Eubank Jr. and Ben is a massive British, like the story, their dads and the fights that they had, legendary stuff. So that's a real exciting one. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be live on DAZN as well. So wait, I don't have shares in DAZN. Give me shares in DAZN.
Neither do I, and I'm doing the interview.
But they're great partners, so I have no problem plugging what they're doing, and what they're doing is great,
Certainly, yeah, they did put on a hell of a show. So we'll talk about some people who might be coming up in the future cards. I know you got a card in Sheffield. I think we'll start with the card in Sheffield, actually. Why put it on in Sheffield?
Because I feel like it's important to move around the country, give people the opportunity, make it easier for some people up north, more accessible, and just, if I had it my way, and it was something that would be practical, I would literally just do a show in a different location each time, up and down the country, and just give everyone a chance to be there live, because there's nothing like the live experience, It's great watching it on pay-per-view, it's really fun, but actually being there and experiencing it, and the crowd and the energy and vibe, there's nothing like that,
So let's talk about some people who aren't on the cards. Yeah, you could be on the cards. Jeff Whittock. I'm a big fan of Jeff. I saw him at the fight. He's always been talking about fighting. Maybe you're not on the Sheffield bill, but you've got some fights coming up. Jeff Whittock could be part of the show.
Jeff Whittock. I think Jeff Whittock is... who's Jeff Whittock?
Mams. Jeff is a legend.
Where?
Jeff is like my hero. Here, I'll show a picture of Jeff. I saw him at the fight. And
That's Jeff Goldblum. Oh, I've seen
that's Jeff
this
Whittock,
guy.
yeah.
I've seen him. Oh yeah, he does quite well. Let's get him on.
Let's get Jeff Whittock on. There you go, Jeff. He might show us on this podcast. I just got you a fight
Jeff,
on the card.
Have your people call my people. Sort it out.
Okay, next person we could get on the card.
I can see why I'm hateable sometimes. Honestly, I am quite cringe. I don't mean.
No, you're not cringe. You're not cringe.
But my humour sometimes is very. I'm a dad. I have dad.
Wait, did you know who Jeff Whittock was?
Yeah.
Oh, you did know who he was.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's been really funny when they watch that back. HS Tiki-Toki.
No.
You won't have any cards.
Mate, the guy is nuts. He's off his mind. He's like.
To be fair, Sam Hyde is nuts, and he's also off his mind.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Sam Hyde was very agreeable and easy to work with. HS Tiki-Toki. Listen, I'm not fucking looking. Have you seen my fucking engagement, mate? Do you think I'm going to fight like someone like Deji or something? That ain't fucking happening. Ain't happening. I want either bring your boy KSI to the table. We're not fucking fighting. And I want half a bar to start with as a deposit in my account. Right? You seen my engagement, mate? You seen my engagement? I'm like, bruh.
So you have talked to HS Tiki-Toki?
Yeah.
And so you think it's a no-go of him, unless
he actually comes down to earth and understands how this space works.
Okay.
You know.
Ed Matthews.
He doesn't want to fight right now.
Okay. Next person we got on is King Kenny, and he said he wants to fight Tyron Woodley.
Bro, King Kenny is just such a gentleman, and
lovely.
I love these guys. That they're humble, they're nice. I love personalities too. I love Sam Hyde's personality. Like, it all adds color to the event. But they're sweet. He's a sweet kid. He's a really good kid. Too close. Sorry.
Not that on your face.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think we're working on some stuff with him. He's welcome on Misfits for life. King Kenny, Sensei. What a respectful pair. You know, like they put a war on together, and they were just very respectful of each other throughout, before, during, after. Like, after that, they made a video together. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw. Who do you think won?
Look, I don't think... I'll say this. It wasn't a robbery. What is a robbery? A robbery is a very...
Robbery is Jack Hatchell, Josh Taylor, the first fight. That's a robbery.
Good example. A robbery is a fight where it's extremely one-sided, and then the guy gets robbed. Literally, you can all see that he's won or lost. I do think, I hate to say this, but I think a lot of people go with a popular opinion and jump on a certain bandwagon to a degree. Can't deny that happens, right? It happens. Social media is kind of about that to some degree, right?
Everyone wants to be on the winning side at the end of the day. The winning side of opinions and in life.
Sure, but look, if you watch the fight with the judging system that was put in place, I could see, personally, I really thought it was a draw. I did. And I watched it a few times because, look, I've got a commission that we're working with. And although I don't have a say in their decision making, if I thought there was a clear-cut robbery, I would be very upset about it. I can see how people score it for Sensei. I could see how people scored it a draw. But equally, it wasn't outrageous that it went to Kenny. Personally, I would have made it a draw. That's what I would have judged it as.
I've got a few more points there on the third. Let's talk about JJ. He called out a number of people after the fight: Slim, Andrew Tate, Gibb. Obviously, the winner, Keeper and Broom. That confused me because I thought he's quite good mates with Gibb. Would he really want to fight his friend?
I think JJ's of the mindset that if Gibb beats McBroom, if Gibb JJ happened, fans would be upset about that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I see that. Like, people really didn't like that. At the end of the day, if Gibb conquers the YouTube boxing world on one end and JJ's conquering it on another end, there is some kind of curiosity to say, okay, like, for instance, JJ wants to fight mostly opponents that are going to be big challenges for him, going forward. And he has to, because obviously Pineda didn't really put on a showing. Swarms, God bless him, he tried, and give him credit. But
would you have Swarms on another card? You would.
Watch what happens. Swarms is great, and he's in the gym today. I spoke to him today. He's like, I'm in the gym right now. I'm training. I'm going to show everyone. I'm not a human carousel. I'm going to show them. Look, some of these comments, they get to you, and if you're a strong person, you're like, okay, cool. I'm gonna do something about it. So you use it as a motivator, and that I respect that.
Certainly, yeah. Swarms, he did kind of save the show, I guess, coming on and having two fights.
The dude, everyone in the boxing side of the world said, if this happened in a traditional boxing event, we would have absolutely cancelled the event. We wouldn't have carried on. If one of the main eventers weren't there, we wouldn't replace him with one person, then add another person, and, oh shit, that guy had some issues, we had to replace him, or there were some issues with who he was, and then we had to replace him. They said for that side of things and the way that all went, we absolutely smashed it so far, so it's some big numbers coming in. Well over 1 million views.
Okay.
Live on DAZN globally.
So which countries was the pay-per-view in?
Ireland, England, America, and Canada. That's
Okay.
it. That's literally it. Everyone else who has DAZN was able to watch the fights. So yes, it's in the millions if you count that. But pure pay-per-view, it did extremely good numbers.
Can you say or?
I'm not allowed, but DAZN won't disclose that. But it did considerably more than any of our counterparts. Considerably more.
Can we do higher or lower? Because I know a lot of people are going to be curious.
No.
You can't do higher or lower. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you probably would. You'll get a phone call from Joe Markowski. He's like, "Mams, what on earth's happened to her?"
Yeah, but it's a very, very, very strong number.
And so DAZN are happy.
Oh yeah. Very happy.
Perfect. That's good to hear. And then we also got Tommy Fury. So let's just miss off.
We tripled or quadrupled, somewhere in between. What's in between triple and quadruple?
I don't know.
When we figure it out. But it's somewhere in there from the projections from DAZN initially.
Okay.
So yeah, they're very happy.
Well done, man. Proud.
Yeah, we're very proud. And there's more to come. And look, it was a well-executed show. It was great production. It was fun to watch, right? It was really fun. I think that was the cool thing. Most people had a lot of fun watching it. And that's really important to me, that you have a good time and you're like, wow, this is well put together. Fuck, behind the scenes, a lot had to happen. DAZN, Wasserman, myself, Proper Loud, like the work that was done, the things that I've learned going into the next show, so valuable.
Oh, really?
I've gone to school, man. I've literally, over the last year, I've gone to school properly, and I'm humble enough to say there's still so much to learn.
What's the
But-
most important thing you've learned?
I've learned the business side of it pretty well. I've learned the production side, certain things. We basically all had a big meeting yesterday of the things that we can improve on, and it was a long list. So for me, I don't finish an event or I don't kind of, let's say our first week of album sales. I don't go and say, yes, we got #1. This is amazing. Let's celebrate. It's fucked. I wish I could turn off just for a couple of hours. Immediately my mind goes to, what can we do to make this better and do more? And it's like a bit of a disease, like you can't, it's not that I'm a relaxed person, but my mind is more interested in improvement rather than celebration. And that's a sad thing. You've got to, huh?
I might get. I kind of see where you're coming from there, because a lot of people say to me, Fred, you usually do that person, you usually do that person. And I kind of say, yeah, it's really nice, but it's in the past. It's on to the next thing. You've got to improve and move forward. Well, let's talk about KSI's opponents. So we just crossed Kibben McBroom out because they're fighting. We got Slim, Andrew Tate.
The winner of that fight is a contender.
It is a contender. But we got Slim, Andrew Tate, and Tommy Fury. Out of those three, which is most likely?
Andrew Tate, Tommy Fury, both are interesting. Andrew Tate's about 210, 215 pounds.
And how heavy is JJ?
180 pounds.
That's difficult. Have you spoken to Andrew Tate or his team or anything like that?
I had a couple of conversations with him when he had an Instagram, and
when he had an Instagram.
yeah, then I switched to his main Instagram and said, hey, I've got a fight for you. I won't say any more than that, but then he kind of disappeared. I don't know if he wants to fight or not. I'm sure he hopefully does, but imagine if he loses to whoever he fights.
It ain't top G anymore if he loses.
We've spoken about this. It's mid-G.
Medium G.
Mid-G.
So Logan Paul's a more likely opponent for Andrew Tate to face.
I guess that would make logical sense.
There we go. Thanks. That's a TikTok for me later. I'll edit that up later. Just later on the card, we've also got which opponent Jeff Willett fighting. That's pretty much everything we've got covered here. Let's just talk about the future of Misfits boxing. We've got the belts. Will any more belts be introduced, or are we just going to stick with those two? Influencer belt and then the Misfits belt.
Well, that's just the cruiserweight Misfits belt. We didn't think anyone... The influencer belts has nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. You understand that? That's completely separate from us. So if you fight on any influencer crossover event, and the PBA decides that you're eligible to fight for a title, you can. But this is where we're cool. Like, we're not opposed, and we're not shutting the door to working with someone else. If someone who's a staple, sort of, if someone's fighting actively on Social Gloves or on Kingpin or whatever, and they earn one of those belts, and it makes logical sense for one of our guys to fight that person, we'll make the fight happen. Those titles are cool to have, and it means something to the fighters. And I think as we all grow, they'll have more and more value. But a Misfits championship belt, there's only one champ right now, the cruiserweight champ, KSI. And we're putting together our ranking systems and everything else. And I think we'll decide who's worthy of fighting, which fighters have earned kind of the resume to fight, or it's just got to make sense. It's not just previous fights; it's also what they bring to the table on the whole. But
it should be exciting. Those belts, obviously, they do look quite nice. But you got the next round in Sheffield. You've only got 2 fights announced for that. When will we hear about the other fights being announced?
They're on my laptop right now, and I'm just finalizing, getting contracts together, and we'll hear about something being announced in maybe less for the 003 event.
The Sheffield one is 002.
Yes, and the MF DAZN X Series 3 is going to be. We're going to announce like a couple of fights on that soon too.
But wouldn't it make more sense to announce the full card first for 002 and then move on to the 003?
Would it?
I would say so, yeah.
I think the point is we're trying to make is like, this is going to go on. Mm-hmm. You might as well jump on the train and subscribe to DAZN, watch these fights. You're going to get them for free. October and November are free with a subscription to DAZN. So then you got January. Then you're going to get another couple of free ones. Then another pay-per-view. So that's going to be our model with this stuff.
Okay.
And, yeah.
The reason why you call it crossover boxing is because you don't want it to be just TikTokers and YouTubers, kind of influencers doing it. So on the next card, the next 002 and 003, will you see more celebrities getting in the ring?
Well, you're seeing a former UFC champ fighting a boxer, Anything to do with animals. I enjoy stories about animals.
How big will your bear sanctuary be?
Huge.
180.
500 acres.
So, how are you going to find room for this?
Idaho.
Okay. And who's going to look after these bears? Who's going to feed them? What are you going to feed them? You're going to have deer running around. How's it going to be set up?
If you have 1,000 acres, there's going to be some other wildlife for them to feast on. It's not like I'm going to be like, look, Mr. Bear, I made you some an omelette. Even though bears literally eat anything, but they love fruit. They love
Really, they like fruit.
Yeah. They're omnivores, and polar bears are carnivores.
Yeah.
They only eat meat. That's why if a polar bear sees you, it sees you as meat. It doesn't play around with that. A black bear in general won't see you as prey, and a grizzly bear won't see you as prey in general unless it's very hungry. But if you surprise a grizzly bear, or a sow is protecting its cubs and sees you as a threat, its main mission will be to kill you, to get you out of the way, and get rid of the threat to its cubs. Or if you surprise a bear, you just piss it off. But in that moment, if it takes a bite of you and it's like, quite tasty, I'm actually hungry, my kids are hungry, you're done. So you just hope. Most of the time they don't eat you, though, grizzlies. Most of the time black bears don't as well.
And you'll be having grizzlies and black bears.
Yeah, no polar bears, though. But I love polar bears. They're so much.
You need to sort it out, Mams. Get some polar bears up there.
Where can we go? Alaska. There's some. Canada.
Do you have a house in Alaska?
I don't.
You're welcome that.
If I got a house in Alaska, would you want to be my roommate?
I'll come over to Alaska.
Would you live there?
Well, the only thing is, I'd have to do Zooms all the time, wouldn't I? If Fred was fighting.
You'd have to do Zooms, yeah.
Unless you do an event in Alaska, that'd be quite cool. An event, a show in Alaska.
Would it be cool?
It'd be cold.
It'll be cold. It'll be cold. And what if we have like polar bears at the event and everything?
It'd be a spectacle. Imagine the open workout there. It'd be sick.
With the polar bear.
Yeah, in the back, just walking around.
Yeah. And the losers get fed to the polar bears, basically.
And that's where you host KSI Jake Paul.
Yes, that's a great one. We better win that.
I think it's a good time to wrap it up now. We've covered basically everything. But what else you got coming up for yourself in the next few weeks?
I am really excited to get back to my ranch, to see my cows and their babies, their calves. I've missed them. I miss my horses. I miss my dogs.
Who's looking after all of that?
I've got some staff there and some mates, and I've got it's a really fun house where I live.
When do there, Mams, then? When do there?